Talk about Soria. I mean, right now, KC, they're looking at that. Goodness, Tommy John. That you hate to see that at this time of the year. Never like to see it, obviously, at any point in the season. But at the start of the season, kid's looking promising right now. Tommy John. This is horrible for Royals fans.
Yeah, done for the year. Really, the big thing here is they should have traded him when his value was high. You know, he's had a previous Tommy John surgery in 2003, and now he's going to need his second one, and he's going to miss the remainder of the season. The Tommy John is to repair the ulnar collateral ligament in your elbow. It's better known as the UCL, which is a little bit less of a mouthful. And you know, it's very common. It's likely he'll be back within a year's time, but you know, for now, he's done. It happened at a point where a lot of people had already drafted him as one of their closers. So you have to start looking elsewhere. And there's several interesting replacements for sure in Kansas City, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they elect to do.
I was going to say, what do you do now from the fantasy perspective, though? I mean, you talk about, they have other guys available from that, but I mean, do you go out and maybe get a reliever and say, don't worry about it, or what do you do?
I think you have to try to replace him, especially because you probably use the draft pick pretty high on Soria. Mm-hmm. You want to try to look for a closer. And fortunately for fantasy owners, there's been a lot of closer injuries that have occurred in the last couple of weeks. So there's tons of new closers available. And if you look right there in Kansas City, you've got three guys that are really kind of vying for the spot. You got Jonathan Broxton, who's got an injury history, but also a history of closing. So he may have a slight edge there. But again, he has not been good over the last year and a half. Since the 2010 All-Star break, he's sporting a 6.63 ERA. He's had an elbow surgery and elbow debridement to clear up a bone spur and a couple of their bone chips in that elbow. And he's a little bit overweight. I just don't see him staying healthy and really locking down that spot. I think they instead turn to one of their two young guns they have. They have Aaron Crow, who made the All-Star game last year as a reliever. But he's more of a mid-relief guy. He actually took the closer job from Soria for a brief stint last year, but the Royals never gave him a save opportunity, so he never actually got to enter as the closer. I still think they turn elsewhere. I think they still continue to use Crow in the middle relief spot, and they go to Greg Holland, who's an interesting name, who had a very solid season as a rookie, and I really think he's going to be the guy that locks it down, and he could be a sneaky addition to fantasy teams if he's still available out there on your waiver wires.
Talk about a little bit more about Soria, though, because you had mentioned it right off the top, being in his second Tommy John. What kind of effect does that really have?
Well, Tommy John is such a unique surgery as far as advancements. It's really become a career killer to a career saver and even a career improver. So with Soria, the big thing here is I think, obviously, since it's happened twice, there's something in his mechanics that's really affecting the way he's pitching. It's putting a lot of stress on that elbow. He may come back and have to look at how he's throwing and what he's going to do to try to save some of that stress from that area. But, Tommy John, like I said, isn't quite the career killer it once was, and I think he'll be back and ready to go starting next year.